In a part of the ocean where light no longer exists, where pressure crushes anything unprepared, something moves. Not fast, not frantic, but with purpose. A massive shape glides downward, leaving the last traces of sunlight behind. The deeper it goes, the darker the world becomes, until there is nothing left but cold, silence, and crushing force from every direction. And still, it continues. This creature was not built like the others. There is no rigid shell protecting it, no hardened armor to shield it from the deep. Instead, its body flexes slightly with every movement, its back covered in thick, rubbery skin, reinforced with thousands of tiny bone structures beneath the surface. It looks soft, but it was designed for something far more extreme. With a single powerful stroke, it dives deeper, past limits most marine life will never reach. 1,000 feet, 2,000, 3,000. The pressure builds to levels that would collapse lungs and crush organs, but its body holds steady. Its internal systems adapt, circulating warmth, conserving oxygen, surviving where almost nothing else can. Because this is where it hunts. A faint shape drifts in the darkness, pulsing slowly. A jellyfish. To most creatures, it's barely worth the effort, but to this hunter, it's everything. It accelerates suddenly, jaws opening wide, and in that instant, the illusion of gentleness disappears. Inside its throat, hundreds of backward-pointing spines, long, sharp, unforgiving. Once something enters, it cannot escape. The jellyfish is trapped instantly, forced downward with every movement. And it doesn't stop at one. It keeps feeding, again and again, consuming massive amounts, up to most of its own body weight every single day. Then, just as suddenly, it turns and surges upward. Its massive flippers drive it through the water with surprising speed, cutting through the darkness toward the distant surface. But this is only part of its journey, because it doesn't stay. It crosses oceans. Thousands of miles, guided by something invisible, Earth's magnetic field, and built-in navigation system that leads it across entire basins without hesitation. From warm tropical waters to freezing northern seas where no reptile should survive. And yet, it does. But near the surface, something drifts. Soft, transparent, familiar. A plastic bag. There's no difference to its instincts. It consumes it. And this time, the system that made it unstoppable becomes its weakness. The spines that trap prey prevent escape. Plastic builds inside its body, slowly shutting it down. A creature that survived millions of years, now facing something it cannot understand. And still, it exists. Not because it's protected, but because it evolved to go deeper, farther, and beyond the limits of everything else.
Not all survival is built on power. In shallow coastal waters, where sunlight reaches the ocean floor, a different story unfolds. A slower movement, calm, controlled. A turtle drifts through vast fields of seagrass, biting gently, moving forward without urgency. But this peaceful existence wasn't always the plan. When it was young, it hunted like the others, small animals, jellyfish, anything it could catch. But over time, something changed. It stopped chasing, stopped hunting, and chose something no other sea turtle fully commits to: plants. Its jaws adapted, serrated edges designed to tear through seagrass and scrape algae from rocks. It became something rare, an herbivore in a world dominated by predators. And in doing so, it reshaped its entire environment. As it grazes, it trims the seagrass beds, preventing overgrowth. This keeps the ecosystem balanced, allowing new growth, supporting fish, and maintaining entire underwater habitats. Without it, the system collapses. It moves slowly, but with purpose. It doesn't need speed. It doesn't need aggression. Its survival comes from balance. But even balance has threats. A disease begins to spread. Strange tumors growing across bodies, affecting movement, vision, even internal organs. In some areas, half the population is affected. No clear cause, no simple solution. And still, it migrates, hundreds of miles, returning to the exact beach where its life began, a precision that feels almost impossible. But the world it returns to is changing. Lights from cities confuse hatchlings, boats strike without warning, seagrass disappears, and the calm path it chose becomes harder to follow. Yet it continues, because survival doesn't always mean being the strongest. Sometimes it means choosing a path no one else did.
Near the ocean floor, something heavier moves. Not elegant, not fast, but powerful. Its head is massive compared to its body, thick, solid, built for one purpose: crushing. It searches slowly, scanning the sand, then stops. Movement beneath the surface. With steady motions, it digs, uncovering something hidden. A shell, hard, protective, nearly impenetrable. To most predators, it's a barrier. To this one, it's nothing. One bite, and it shatters. No chase, no struggle, just force. It feeds on what others can't touch: crabs, mollusks, armored prey. Its strength defines it. But that strength comes at a cost. It takes decades to fully mature, years of survival before it can even reproduce. And in those early moments of life, it's the opposite of slow. When it hatches, it doesn't hesitate. It sprints, a non-stop burst of movement toward the ocean, driven by instinct, because stopping means death. From that moment on, survival becomes a test of endurance. In vibrant coral reefs, something moves like living art. Its shell catches the light, patterns of amber, gold, and deep brown blending together like stained glass. It's one of the most beautiful creatures in the ocean, and that beauty nearly destroyed it. For centuries, humans hunted it for that shell, turning it into jewelry, ornaments, and decorations. Each piece taken meant one less survivor. But its design wasn't just for appearance. Its beak is sharp and narrow, perfect for reaching into tight reef crevices. Inside those spaces, it finds something others avoid: toxic sponges, filled with chemicals that would poison most animals, but not this one. It consumes them and absorbs the toxins, becoming poisonous itself, a defense built from what it eats. Yet even that wasn't enough to protect it from human demand, and its numbers fell, dangerously close to disappearing. There was a time when beaches were covered completely. Thousands of turtles arriving at once, so many that the sand itself disappeared beneath them. Then, silence. The numbers collapsed, from tens of thousands to barely any. Fishing nets, egg harvesting, human pressure from every direction. It was on the edge of extinction. And then, something unusual happened. Humans intervened, not to take, but to restore. New laws, protective measures, devices that allowed turtles to escape fishing nets, eggs protected, hatchlings released safely. Slowly, the numbers began to rise. Not fully recovered, not safe, but no longer disappearing. Proof that even at the edge, a species can return. On certain nights, the ocean transforms. Shapes emerge from the water. Then more, then thousands. The beach becomes a living surface covered in movement. This is not chaos, it's strategy.
By arriving all at once, they overwhelm predators. Too many targets, too little time. Even if some are lost, many survive. It's survival through scale, an ancient tactic perfected over generations. While others cross oceans, one stays. Its entire life unfolds in the same region. No long migrations, no global journeys. It knows every current, every shoreline. It adapted to one place, completely. But that choice comes with risk. If that environment changes, there's nowhere else to go. No backup, just one home. Life begins beneath sand, hidden, fragile. Then suddenly, movement. Tiny bodies break free and race toward the ocean. It's not a journey, it's a gauntlet. Birds above, predators below. Every step is a risk. Out of thousands, only one may survive. And yet, they run anyway. The ocean is no longer what it was. Temperatures rise. Currents shift. Even the balance of male and female hatchlings begins to change. Plastic fills the water. Fishing lines stretch unseen. Threats no longer come from nature alone, and adaptation is being tested like never before.
And still, they remain. From a time before modern oceans, before continents settled into place, they were already here. Not one strategy, not one design. Each chose a different path. Depth, strength, balance, numbers, isolation. And somehow it worked. Because survival was never about being the strongest. It was about adapting, again and again, to a world that never stops changing.
Long before cities, before ships crossed oceans, before plastic ever touched the water, they were already here. Moving through ancient seas that looked nothing like the ones we know today. They didn't rely on one way to survive. Some went deeper than anything else, into darkness where pressure crushes life. Some chose peace, shaping entire ecosystems without hunting. Others became pure Alkua, breaking through armor no one else could touch. Some survived through numbers, flooding the shores in unstoppable waves. And one simply stayed, learning one place so well it never needed the rest of the world. Different paths, different strategies, same result. They endured. Through extinction events, through shifting oceans, through millions of years of change. But this time, the challenge is different. Not slower, not natural, faster, unpredictable, and everywhere at once. The ocean they mastered is no longer the same ocean. And yet, they still swim, still migrate, still return to the same beaches where their story began. Not because survival is easy, but because it's all they've ever known. Because adaptation is what they were built for. And maybe that's what makes them different. Not just survivors of the past, but a test of whether something this ancient can survive what comes next.